Welcome and good afternoon. This is Commish Orr, and today we're going to give you an update on the rest of the first round of the Baseball Maelstrom tournament. Once again, I'm using History Maker Baseball's all-time franchise greats, all 30 teams of the Major League Baseball history, a Japanese League team, and a Negro League team. That's what we started with. And we had 4 more games played this week. So there were 4 more eliminations because we were in the losers bracket of the tournament. Double elimination tournament is what we're playing. And one item of note, I think what I'm going to do is, since I've played 32 games now of History Maker Baseball, I think it's enough to give you my thoughts on the game. And so I plan to do a video probably sometime within the next week, where I just share my thoughts on History Maker Baseball now that I've played it a little bit. I think I already did a first impressions video, but now I'm going to give you kind of my thoughts after having played 32 games. Small sample size, but I think good enough to give you some impressions on it. But today, we're just going to cover the 4 games that I played this week and talk about who is left and who got eliminated and all that fun stuff. So first we head over to Tampa Bay as the Texas Rangers faced off against the Tampa Bay Rays. And this was a blowout from the very first inning. Yu Darvish on the mound for the Rangers, and he did not last long. He allowed a 2-run homer to Carlos Pena in the first inning. And then in the second, Tampa Bay batted around on him, and he allowed 4 more runs thanks to a couple of 2-run singles. Ben Zobrist had one of those, and Fred McGriff had the other one. Now, Texas did get a run in the third when Josh Hamilton had an RBI single to score Rusty Greer off of Shields, but really too little too late, and Tampa Bay was not done by far scoring. Kenny Rogers actually came in the third inning, but he ran into trouble from the very first batter. Evan Longoria hit a solo home run to lead off the third and was the first batter that Rogers faced, and he would allow 3 more runs after that, thanks to a couple of RBI hits and a ground out. So Tampa Bay took a 10-1 lead into the fourth. They scored... into the fourth. They did score another run in the fourth. And so Rogers also only lasted 2 innings and allowed 5 earned runs himself. And they would score a couple of runs later on. Longoria had his second homer of the game, another solo shot in the 6th. And Aubrey Huff had a solo shot in the 8th. Texas would get a couple runs back. Adrian Beltre hit a home run in the 7th. And they did score in the 9th, but by then the game was well out of hand, as Tampa Bay takes this one 13-3. As you can see, every Ranger pitcher allowed at least allowed a home run. Interestingly, Longoria was just a double short of the cycle in this one. He was 4 for 4. He singled in the second. He had a homer in the third. He had a triple in the fourth. And then in the 6th, he hit another homer. And then he walked in the 8th. So overall, he had quite an amazing game, but didn't quite get the cycle there. He scored 4 times, had 2 RBI. It's definitely one of the best offensive performances I've seen this year by anybody. So what that means is Texas gets knocked out of the tournament. Next, we will head to Boston as the Houston Astros taking on the Boston Red Sox. And Roger Clemens on the mound facing his other team, or one of his other teams. Facing off against Pedro Martinez in this one. And Houston got on the board early in the second inning, thanks to a couple of, an RBI single from Rusty Staub. And then Dennis Menke actually grounded into a double play that scored another run, for 2 runs there for Houston in the second. Pedro would actually allow another run in the 7th, thanks to an RBI single from Richard Hidalgo. Clemens, on the other hand, went the distance in this one, allowing only 3 hits. He did walk 2, but he struck out 8. And so he picks up the shutout in this one as Boston, the number 2 seed in the American League, is eliminated in the tournament. Next, we head over to Milwaukee as the Colorado Rockies took on the Milwaukee Brewers. And in this one, it was another kind of low-scoring game with good pitching. The difference being Colorado's 3 solo home runs. Larry Walker, Matt Holliday, and Andres Galarraga each had a solo shot for the only 3 runs for the Rockies. In fact, those 3 homers were 3 of only 5 hits for them against Ben Sheets. Well, Sheets went 7 innings, allowed 3 hits. Two of those hits were homers. Raleigh Fingers allowed another one. And Colorado had Yolis Chacin on the mound, and he pitched very well. He went 6 innings, allowed just 1 earned run, 5 hits. He did walk 4, but struck out 5. The real story of this one is that the Brewers had the bases loaded with no outs in the first inning, and Chacin struck out the side to get out of that jam. In the 5th, once again, the first 3 hitters reached base to load the bases. But once again, Robin Yount struck out. Prince Fielder got picked off at first. And then Sixto Lezcano grounded out to end the inning. So they had 2 innings where they had the bases loaded and no outs. It could not score a run. So overall, they left 10 on base in this one, Milwaukee did. Many opportunities to score, but just could not get it done. Colorado, on the other hand, will advance to the next round after knocking off the Brewers. Finally, we head to the longest game of the tournament, and that is the San Diego Padres taking on the Atlanta Braves. All right, so let's take a look at this one. Very, probably small to see, but I'll kind of tell you what happened here. This one went 15 innings and was scoreless until the 15th, in fact. Warren Spahn for the Braves taking on Randy Jones of the San Diego Padres. And both pitchers pitched well enough that after 9 innings, the score was still 0-0. Spahn actually went a 10th inning. The bases were loaded at that in the 10th, but Adrian Gonzalez struck out to end the 10th inning and to end the threat there, sending us even further into extra innings. Both relief cores pitched well until that 15th inning when Ken Caminiti led off with a single. This is against John Smoltz, who came in relief. Greg Vaughn struck out, but then Adrian Gonzalez redeemed himself with an RBI double. A couple batters later, Cito Gaston had an RBI single to drive in their other run. And then Trevor Hoffman pitched a perfect 15th inning to pick up the save in this one. Now, item of note, Ken Caminiti was 6 for 7 in this game with 6 singles, as you can see here. He lined out to third in the first inning, but he singled in the 4th, 6th, 8th, 10th, 12th, and 15th innings. So definitely the standout offensive star on the Padres for this game. Ended up scoring the winning run, what eventually was the winning run here. But pretty crazy game. And so the Braves get eliminated by the Padres. Let's take a look. Going back to the Baseball Maelstrom website. By the way, if you head over to baseballmaelstrom.com, you can follow all the action and see the updates on each game as it's played. I do a little write-up here. You can click on the link to get to the box scores and box score and score sheet for each game. There's a link to the bracket here, which we'll go over in a bit. And then the upcoming games for the next day are here, along with scores from the last games. You can click stats to go to the ball stat statistics for the league or for the tournament. You can get the leaders so far and that kind of thing there. Or if you just want to see how a particular team's doing, you can click on that team and get to a team page that shows you how they're doing. If we take a look at the bracket, let's take a look at that real quick. We can see that we're starting October 3rd in the bracket. So we will have Seattle playing Detroit and the Angels playing the Oakland Athletics in the winner's bracket of the American League. Down the loser's bracket, eliminated was the Yomiuri Giants, Minnesota Twins, the Texas Rangers, as we just noted, and the Boston Red Sox. So Toronto will take on New York. Kansas City takes on the White Sox. Tampa Bay will take on Cleveland, and the Baltimore Orioles will face off against the Houston Astros in the American League. In the National League, in the winner's bracket, we have Miami, the lowest seeded National League team, taking on the Mets. And the Cardinals facing off against the Dodgers. That's going to be a very good game to watch here, as it's the number 2 and 3 seeded teams in the National League. If we take a look at the losers bracket, eliminated on the National League side were the Washington Nationals, the the Chicago Cubs, the Milwaukee Brewers, as noted, and the Atlanta Braves now have joined them in elimination. Playing in tomorrow's games in the losers bracket, remember, if whichever of these teams lose is eliminated. Homestead Grays taking on the Giants, the Phillies taking on the Reds, the Rockies will face off against the Pirates, and the Padres will face off against Arizona. That kind of gives you a little update on the tournament. As always, you can head over to baseballmaelstrom.com, as I mentioned, if you want to see all of the keep updated on the league and see how things are shaping up. What this means is that with 32 games played, we're about halfway through the tournament already. And so we're getting down to it here. We're over the hump on the downhill side of the tournament. And so with 24 teams left, we'll have 8 more eliminations in the next day. Well, the next tournament day. That'll get us down to our final 16 teams. As I noted earlier, I do plan on doing a little video where I will talk about the update on, my updated thoughts on History Maker Baseball. So be watching for that. If you have any comments or questions, leave those down in the comments below. And that's where we'll leave things today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, have a great evening.